What up, what up, what up? Guys, who cares about financial freedom when you can have a new whip like mine? Look at this beaut. Guys, I'm gonna have car payments until they put me in the ground, boy. Hey, what the? Oh, man, dang visual effects. Acting up again. Man. They always be messing up. What the? Oh, man. Crap.
Hey, how are you guys doing out there? I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking.
Guys, it's so good to see you all. Today's gonna be a good one. That's what we say down here in the South. Today we're tackling another one of the big three expenses that take up over half of our income. Last week we talked about housing, but today we're gonna be talking about transportation. Transportation takes up about 16% of our expenses. If we can make some changes in this area, then our savings could be huge and ultimately help us take a bigger leap towards financial freedom. First, let's talk about vehicles. Vehicles can often be the most expensive thing we own after buying a house. And if we're not careful, then it can definitely hold us down financially. Most all vehicles depreciate over time. With every day that goes by and the more miles you put on your vehicle, the value just drops and drops. You gotta maintain the car. There's maintenance costs, there's insurance costs, there's unforeseen repairs, and you gotta buy that gas, unless you own a Tesla. One day I will have you, Cybertruck. One day. And if you have a car loan, then you're paying extra money on top of the car cost in interest. AAA reports that owning and operating a vehicle on average costs about $8,558. And the average monthly car payment is now over $500. Now there's nothing wrong with owning a vehicle. It helps us get from point A to B to get to work. And it's especially awesome when you're in a place with sucky transportation. Marta. The problem is when people pay too much for their vehicles and set up a sucky payment plan. People think that car payments are and will always be a part of life. People think that the more expensive the car, the more reliable it is. People want to impress others, so they spend a lot more than what they probably should to impress people that don't really care. And people decide that buying this vehicle is more important than saving for their future selves. I'd say one of my biggest tips for buying a vehicle is to buy used. There are a ton of reliable used vehicles out there that can get you from point A to B, and they won't break the bank. Because of depreciation, a new car can lose about half of its value in about 4 years. So I think you can get the best bang for your buck by choosing a car that's 4 years or older. But don't be afraid to go older. Let me show you my beauty. This is my whip. My stallion is a 1987 S10. It cost me about $2,800 plus about $800 to fix the transmission, and she has treated me well for the past 10 years with a few minor repairs here and there. I don't have to pay for emissions tests in Georgia since it's so old, my insurance is way lower, and it's a Chevy. Looking at you, Ford. Having a paid off car versus paying $500 a month for another car has allowed me to save and invest my money. What if you could save that $500 and invest it over just 5 years? If you put that money in the market with an average gain of about 7%, at the end of the 5 years, you'd have about $35,800 saved up. After about 10 years, you'd have about $86,550. You could definitely buy a Cybertruck with that. With cash, and have more left over. All right. I'm done pooping on new cars. I do believe buying a new car can be worth it, in my opinion. If you're gonna go new, then I'd recommend getting at least maybe last year's model, and that'll help you save 10% right there. And also, if you're gonna buy new, I'd recommend keeping that car for at least 10 plus years to really make sure you get some good money's worth out of it. Sometimes you can save more money buying new rather than used too, with not having to pay for as many car repairs and maybe not spending as much on maintenance over time. Now, it would be awesome if you can pay your car off in cash, but if you gotta finance it, then I recommend this rule. This is the popular 20-4-10 rule. This rule recommends that you put 20% down, pay off your loan in 4 years or less, and your car payment shouldn't be more than 10% of your household income per month. Now, in that car payment, that includes your gas, your insurance, your maintenance, and of course your car payment. So if you make about $5,000 a month, $60,000 a year, then you can do up to $500 a month for your car payment and car expenses. I found this breakdown online that was really helpful, and it has one side that doesn't account for taxes and one side that does. I recommend, if you can, use the side that accounts for taxes. That way you're a little more conservative with your car purchase. If your car is a luxury car, I recommend limiting yourself to paying it off in 1 year. I'm talking to you ballers out there. Again, these are tips to overall help you on saving a ton of money on your car. The truth is, I don't think most of us truly value having the nicest car out there as much as we think. But hey, if you're a car enthusiast or a car guy or gal, by all means, spend a little bit more on your car purchase. I wanna make sure that you guys are aligning your values with your finances. Just make sure you cut back in other areas so that your finances can have some balance. Next, let's talk public transportation. On average, a household can save nearly $10,000 by giving up one car and taking public transportation more often. If your public transportation is awesome, not MARTA.
Get out of the way! Bus! Get out of the way, bus! Are you...
Then you might not even need a car to get around. In America, places like Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Philadelphia, Boston, Chicago, New York City have great public transportation. My first tip with this is to buy tickets in bulk if you can, or buy weekly or monthly passes for trains or buses. Buying a pass for a longer period rather than just daily can have huge savings. As of now, if you're in New York City, you could buy a week MTA pass for $33 for unlimited ride. But if you just bought an individual pass, then it can be $3 per trip. After about 6 round trips, you would have paid more than what you would have if you just bought a week pass. Check in your city and see what kind of discounts you can find. If you're a student in college or a senior citizen, there's a lot of places out there that'll offer discounts on their public transportation. Depending on where you live, you may have different types of public transportation that's cheaper than the other. Like in Tampa, for example, there's a specific tram out there that'll take you through the city for free. Do your research in your area to see what the cheapest route is. Using an app like Transit is a really helpful tool that can show you all the different options you have for public transportation, how long it'll take, and how much each option will cost. But also remember, time is money too. So if there's a route that takes you 3 hours to get somewhere for free, but you could get there in 30 minutes for just a couple bucks, it might be worth it to spend the extra money to get there a whole lot faster. That way you have more time to make some business moves. Next, let's talk about ride sharing. In some places, ride sharing can be a great option, like Uber or Lyft. In some places, this can be the absolute cheapest mode of transportation. And also, if you're in a congested city area and if you had a car, you'd have to pay for parking. But if you're just dropped off, then you ain't gotta pay for nothing. Well, except to the guy that drove you there. But a lot of times, it's a whole lot cheaper than paying for parking. And especially if you have to travel to a special event. Sometimes in Atlanta, they can charge $20 and even up to $30 for parking if there's a special event going on. You could even become a driver for Uber or Lyft and make it a side hustle. There's drivers out there who do Uber or Lyft drives on their route to their work. They do a ride or two and make money going to and from work. I've ended up with a couple of drivers myself doing this when I was a rider. Using this method, you might be able to bring in several $100s a week extra. I have some links in the description below for Uber and Lyft. So if you sign up with them using my link, you can save some money. Next up, consider carpooling. Maybe you have a friend or a colleague that commutes along the same route that you do going to work. If you carpool, then you could split your transportation costs in half. Or maybe if you hop in with someone else, then they might let you tag along for free. Rent or share your car. Using apps and websites like TURO can allow you to rent your car out like someone can rent out a room on Airbnb. If you don't use your car every day, this could be a really cool option for you to make extra money on your car that just sits in your driveway most of the time. I personally have been the renter on TURO, and it's been an awesome experience. And the people I've talked to who rent out their cars on there, most of them have a great experience, and some of them, it's even helped them pay off their cars completely. All right guys, the last tip of this video today is to stretch them legs by walking or biking. Now, of course, this is a really good tip for those that are very close to where they work and where they need to go most of the time. This method can cost close to nothing or even free. Not using a car can be very green for the environment and also give you those legs of steel. There's places all over that are very bike friendly. Places like Portland, Oregon, or Amsterdam. Whew! Guys, there are a whole lot more tips I could hit on with transportation, but these are some of my favorites to get you going. See what I did there? Get you going. Transportation. If this video has helped you out in any way and given you some thoughts on saving some money, then obliterate that like button. And also hit that subscribe button and bell icon so that you can be notified of more money saving tips in the future. If you want to jumpstart your investing journey, in the links below I have a link to Robinhood where you can get 1 free stock for signing up. And there's also a link to Webull where you can get 1 free stock for signing up and another stock which could be valued up to $1,400 if you deposit $100. Join me next week as we tackle saving money on food. And I will see you later, buddy.